With so many big marathons always on the horizon, you'll be noticing your long runs are getting pretty long as the training plan progresses. No doubt you'll be wondering, how on earth am I going to get through these? You might be getting a little bit nervous about them. Well, don't worry, we're talking all things long runs today. How you're going to get through them, how you're going to be feeling strong all the way through them, right the way to the finish, and ultimately have a much better, stronger, more enjoyable race day as a result. So I've got my 5 golden rules all about long runs today. So sit back, relax, let's get long runs done. The first thing I want to chat about is planning. Everything we're going to be doing before we're going to be heading out on our long run. The first thing, we're going to be deciding a good route to go on. A lot of people like to lapse off their local park. In London, the famous ones are Battersea Park and Victoria Park, both very safe and traffic free as well. Maybe doing some out and backs, maybe be doing a potential race route or doing a race as a long run training run. For me, I spend so much time on Strava Route Builder, working out where I'm going to go, the distances I've got on my plan this week, and a good route to go through. So plan out a good route for your long run. We'll come on to fueling a little bit later on in the video, but in terms of planning now, do you need to drop some bottles potentially along your route where you're going out so you can stay nice and hydrated? Do you need to plan some shops to potentially stop at? Are you going to need to find some fountains? Can you do that? Strava are really good at pointing where fountains are out on your run. So think about how you're going to carry and transport all of your fuel that you need for your long run. The day before our long run, we want to be treating the same as the day before our race as well. So we're going to be winning a good carbohydrate heavy meal the evening before that run. The classics, some things like pasta, some rice, some pizza, getting early-ish to bed, and make sure we're nice and hydrated as well. Check the weather for your long run. Do we need to be taking some extra electrolytes with us the day before if it's going to be particularly hot? Some sun cream, or maybe if the weather isn't so good, an extra layer to keep warm, a waterproof top as well. Don't get caught out and let the weather ruin your long run. Potentially you want to go out there with some company as well. If you're going out solo, potentially taking some podcasts along with you or some music on your headphones to keep you motivated, and they're really good distractions. You can tick off loads of Ks. It's another really good idea to start your long run at the same time as your race day run. So if you're running London Marathon, for example, starts at around 10:30, can you do your long run starting at the same time? Maybe not every week, but a really good thing to practice and just gets your body used to running long at that time of day. Right, coming on to my second section, this is all about pacing. Super important to get the right effort for your long run to get the maximum training benefit. Now, if you followed a plan, no doubt this will all be laid out for you. We design all of our long runs in our training plans, not only to get you very fit, but also provide lots of variety to keep your motivation high and the runs fun and interesting as well. So have a think about the structure of your long run. It's a really good idea to break your long run up into blocks of different pace sections. Easy pace, marathon pace, maybe half marathon pace for those people training for half marathons. My absolute classic marathon training long run is 5k on, 5k off, 5k easy, 5k goal pace, 5k easy, 5k goal pace, up to 35k potentially of that. Or you could have a faster finish long run where you maybe do the first half of your long run nice and easy, the second half pick that up to your marathon and goal pace. Or a fartlek run where you're just adding in some random bursts where you can pick up the pace, maybe 5 to 10 pickups during your long run. Again, it just keeps it interesting. Just go up to marathon pace, half marathon pace, with a little burst during the run, just when you feel like just picking up the pace, having a bit of fun, opening up the legs a little bit. It just means that you're focusing on such a small part of the run at any one time. You won't get overwhelmed by looking at the bigger picture of what you've got to do. And then also research the paces or the heart rate zones that you want to be running at during your long run. I'll link to it down below. We've got a completely free download with a marathon pacing chart, which has all the different marathon goals you could be going for, and then the paces for each of your different types of run there as well. So go and check that out and get that downloaded. Always start off your long runs with a few very easy kilometers as well and build into the run. This is especially important for older runners, just to ease into it. Those first few kilometers should be below the goal pace that you have for the run, and then ease into that pace and then go on to your goal pace, maybe sort of 3k into the run. Moving on to have a chat all about fueling now. So I'd recommend breakfast is going to be anywhere from sort of 2 hours, 90 minutes, up to really the limit is about an hour before, because you want to get everything settled in your stomach. It can be a really good idea to practice the options that you're going to have available on your race day during your training runs as well. So there's no point practicing with all of your training runs by having bagels and then getting to your race day and think, I've got no toaster to toast my bagels, or I can't buy bagels in this country that I'm in. So practice with the options that you think are going to be available on race day in your training runs. The classics for breakfast are things just like, as I say, bagels, oatmeal and porridge, croissants, muesli, granola, bananas. And another thing that a lot of people forget is hydration. So water and electrolytes, or maybe a carbohydrate sports drink as well. So many people bonk or hit the wall, not necessarily from lack of calories, but also lack of hydration as well. Just get very, very dehydrated. So once you're out on those runs, we want to be taking a gel around about every 30 to 40 minutes. Figure out what works for you. Another couple of little pointers here. Don't worry if you need to stop for a minute or two to take on a gel. Get a bottle from a bush just to rehydrate properly. It is so important to be getting these calories, getting this hydration on board. Far more important than it is just to make sure you don't stop during the long run. A couple of minutes here and there really isn't going to make any difference. You want to be fueling these runs to feel strong all the way to the end. Then obviously we want to be thinking about how we're going to be carrying our liquids and carrying our gels as well. For me, I'm always taking my naked band, my waist belt around my waist here, and then in that I can stick in my gels. In terms of staying hydrated, luckily I've got my girlfriend that comes out with me on a bike. I don't mind stopping at a shop every now and then if I have to. Putting water bottles in bushes is another absolute classic that I like to do on my long runs as well. Make sure I've got access, it's planned out before I go, so I don't have to worry about it once my run has started. Well, a lot of people really like to take a pack with them as well, a hydration pack, where you can have bottles up the front or maybe a reservoir bladder in the back of it, and then you can just sip on it as you go. This is a bit of a weird one because most people won't do that on race day because they'll use the hydration available on the course, but it's a bit of a weird one where we have to do it in training, but we don't normally do it on race day. But for a lot of people, you just got to get that hydration in, and that's the simplest and easiest way to do it. Now moving on, let's have a chat about kit, everything we'll be wearing for our long run. Now you want to dedicate a few of your long runs for full dress rehearsals. This is shoes, clothing, because we don't want to be doing anything new on race day, including socks and pants. We want to make sure we've practiced with all of it so there's no surprises on race day. Make sure everything really works well together as well, with absolutely no issues. We don't want any chafing, any bouncing, any discomfort. Get some of that good old body glide in there to stop any chafing. This is when you want to iron out any of your issues. Now, what shoes to wear? Do you want to be doing all of your runs in your race day shoes? Well, weirdly, I'd say probably not. I like to do some of my really important runs where I'm going at marathon pace, those practice dress rehearsal runs in my race day shoes. So at the moment, I'm doing those in my Vaporfly 3s. But then some other runs that are a bit more chilled, long runs, I'm going to be doing those in my comfy shoes. So at the moment, that's the Super Blast 2s. So just have a think about it. What singlet are you going to be wearing? What t-shirt are you going to be wearing? What waistband are you going to be using? And how are you going to be carrying your fuels and liquids on your run? And then once the run's done, you've paused your watch, you've saved your watch, you've done your Strava, you've done your social media and everything like that. How are we going to recover from our long run? Because that's the most important thing. It's how well we can recover from our long run is how well we're going to adapt and become a better runner in the future. So I always like to finish my long run with about 5 to 10 minutes walk, just to bring that heart rate back down gradually. Doing some post-run static stretching. We've got a follow-along video you can use. We'll link to that down below and up here as well. And then I like to get a good post-run recovery meal, some good protein, some good carbohydrates in there, and rehydrate around about 30 to 45 minutes, about an hour after I've run, somewhere in that sort of window. But as soon as I come in from the door, I like to have a recovery shake. Good to get some good protein powder, some blueberries, some chia seeds, things like that into the blender, get that all ready to go and get that down and start that recovery process as soon as possible. I always like to take a rest day after my long run, which is what I'm sticking to in my current build-up. Mondays for me at the moment are always rest days after that Sunday long run. And then make some notes after your run as well. What went well? What didn't go so well? What can we tweak for next time? Just have a time of reflection and see what we can do to improve. I know you're going to be amazing when it comes to race day. Up next, we've got a video all about how to avoid hitting the wall in the marathon. So go and check that one out to have that perfect race day, which I know you're going to have. Finally, enjoy your long runs. Run with a smile on your face. They are tough, but it feels amazing when you get out there and get the runs done properly. Please check out my website, benparks.com, and we'll see you very soon in the next one.